Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 1960 Porsche 356 RSR from Emory Motorsports. And yeah, this is a combination of two Porsche vehicles, a 1990s era 964 and a 356 from the 1950s era. And yeah, this is the second vehicle from Emory that we have on this game, and it's their most powerful and fastest vehicle they currently have on offer. Which no doubt comes down to the fact that it's a combination of a lightweight 50s car and a more modern 90s vehicle. And yeah, to help it be as light as possible, it's got an aluminium rear and front bonnet. Side and quarter windows are made out of plexiglass, while it also has a steering, brakes and suspension from the 964 to help it, deal with all the extra power that it's going to have going for it. So yeah, I like a lot about this car, but there are a couple of things I have reservations about, which we'll get to eventually. But yeah, there's no doubt that this has plenty of power, which comes from its custom-made engine, which we'll take a look at now. So it's a 2.4 litre twin turbocharged flat 4 engine, producing 393 horsepower and 354 pounds-feet of torque, which is quite a lot, especially when you consider it only weighs 1,950 pounds, which is about 200 pounds lighter than the other Emory vehicle that we have on this game, the 356C Cabriolet. But yeah, it's also got a fuel tank and all the other gubbins underneath the front, which to me doesn't seem like the best idea, considering the lighter a fuel tank gets, the lighter the front end is going to get. So yeah, maybe some handling issues in that regard. But yeah, we've got a Momo 5-spoke wheels as well, and the interior pretty much has everything Momo, to be honest. The seats, the racing harnesses, the steering wheel, the pedals are all Momo. And yeah, I also like the wood gear lever there. And yeah, it's all very nicely done in here. Nothing overly complicated or technologically advanced, but everything's there that you need, and yeah, it's all well laid out as well. So it's all very nice in terms of that. But yeah, I'm not a massive fan of the way of this car looks, especially the front. It looks a bit emotionless and cold, really, whereas you compare it to the C Cabriolet that like I said earlier is also from Emory, which has gorgeous minimalist curved lines, but is anything but boring. And yeah, it all just really works nicely. But this, also being a resto mod, seems to have gone a bit too far into the modded aspect of resto modding, because there's very little about this car that is restored or original, whereas with the 356C, the engine is really the only massive difference between that and an original 356, in all honesty. So yeah, this feels like it's gone a bit too far into the modded aspect, but I do like the wheels, I do like the interior, the side profile is good, and the rear is okay, especially like the 4 exhausts. But yeah, the front I'm not particularly fond of, so yeah, that is a bit of a shame considering how gorgeous the other Emory vehicle is that we already have on this game. So yeah, that is a shame. But nonetheless, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. So despite me not being 100% on board with the way this car looks, there's no doubt that this, in terms of dynamics, is better than the other Emory vehicle that we have on this game, because it's more powerful in terms of horsepower and torque. It's lighter, like I said earlier, by 200 pounds, and it's also better in terms of handling and braking. But yeah, on the whole, yeah, I'm just not a massive fan of it. It's no doubt that it's a great car to drive, which I also really think the 356C is as well. But this isn't all that much fun in comparison to that car, because that car, on the whole, does feel still like a classic vehicle. It just so happens to have 220 horsepower over the sub 100 horsepower it had originally, whereas this does feel like a more modern car, which means that you don't get those classic car, handling characteristics. And to be honest, I'm not a massive fan of the way the car sounds either. The other Emory vehicle is a naturally aspirated flat 4 engine, whereas this is turbocharged, and it robs it of any of its good engine noises, quite frankly. So yeah, I'll just let you listen to it for a little bit yourself, and you can make your own mind up of it, and then we'll talk about it some more. So yeah, it's not an awful sounding engine by any means, but yeah, flat 4 engines or flat engines in general always sound better when they are naturally aspirated, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, the turbocharging, though it does obviously give it more power and more torque and therefore make it faster than the other Emory vehicle in terms of acceleration and top speed, it does rob it of some of its enjoyable characteristics when you talk about these kind of engines. But like I said, the flip side to that is that it is really rather quick in terms of acceleration and top speed. You can do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, 0 to 107.2 seconds, and it goes to a top speed of 180 miles an hour, which is about 1.3 seconds quicker to 60 than the C Cabriolet. It's about 5 seconds quicker to 100, and that vehicle can do about 149 at the top end. So yeah, no doubt that this is quicker, and for the most part, handling wise, it is also better. Like I said, it's not quite as fun or as entertaining to drive as the C Cabriolet, but no doubt that around a track this would actually make mincemeat of it, and yeah, is also more confidence inducing. You feel like you can use all of that power most of the time, whereas with the other one it rolls a little bit, it's not got the best of brakes, and it definitely feels like it's right on the raggedy edge when it comes to the amount of power that it's got, whereas this feels like it could easily handle another 100 horsepower and still be able to handle just as well. So yeah, I appreciate it in terms of an engineering aspects, and I think they've done a great job in terms of marrying two completely different cars from about 40 years apart. But yeah, looks wise, engine noise wise, and general entertainment wise, it's just not quite there in comparison to the previous Emory vehicle that I've already reviewed. So yeah, less is more for me when it comes to these kind of resto modded cars. I like them to be more reliable and yeah, definitely more powerful than their original versions. But there's a fine line between restoring a car and modding a car, and this has gone a bit too much into the modding aspect for my liking. But yeah, it's still a great car, and yeah, I am still glad that it's on this game, because yeah, more new vehicles is never a bad thing. And yeah, you only have to get 50% in the festival playlist to get your hands on it, and it is well worth getting your hands on because it is still a cracking driver's car. It's just not quite what I look for in a resto modded vehicle. But yeah, if you do get it, comment and tell me how you enjoy it, if you enjoy it as much as I do, or less or more. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.